All right, we need to move on. We need to move on and get into our daily fantasy sports segment. You heard us talk about it early on the day. If you're not playing FanDuel, go to FanDuel.com, sign up using the promo code BALLERS, and you'll get 200 free bucks. Oh, that doesn't rhyme. 200 free dollars.
Very nice.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and get into the Daily Dose.
The Daily Dose.
The fantasy footballers are pleased as peas once again to bring back Chris Meany, the daily fantasy sports expert from the Fantasy Sports Network. How are you doing today, good sir?
Good, guys, good. I had Jerry Ferrer on yesterday to talk about some picks, so if anybody out there is a fan of his work through Entourage, they should check out our YouTube page, fantasysportsnetwork.com. Yeah, we had Turtle on there, and he's a big football guy, huge fantasy guy, and he told me he had Devontae Freeman on his team. He drafted him, but he dropped him after week 1.
Ouch.
Yeah,
I know.
It's not just me.
He's like, I'm feeling pretty good about my team. I'm 5-2, but really, like, at the end of the day, I dropped the best player in fantasy, probably.
Well, we are thankful to have you back on the show today. You're kind of taking over our Fridays, man. We had a bunch of iTunes reviews that came in, and they were saying how much they appreciated the Daily Dose segment on Fridays, so keep it coming.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate you guys having me on. I always love to talk football with you guys.
And last week, I'm just taking credit for the Chris Meany picks, of course, smashed it with Michael Floyd, who was extremely cheap, came through in a big way on Monday night. So let's start at the top, Chris. So let's start at the top. We got Aaron Rodgers, the numero uno guy. He's expensive, but he's got a tough matchup against Denver. Are you paying up for him or maybe a Luck? Who do you like? Luck who has a terrible matchup as well. What quarterbacks are you paying for?
I'm definitely not paying for Aaron Rodgers, guys. I don't really like the matchup. This is in Denver. I saw Aaron Rodgers last year struggle in Buffalo against a tough defense at the time. Denver's defense has they've been outstanding. We're talking about a Denver team that's 6-0 and really, not getting anything from their quarterback, to be honest. So I'm not paying up for Aaron Rodgers. It's too expensive for me. He could be a contrarian play in a big tournament, maybe not going to be heavily owned. I would rather play Ryan Fitzpatrick over him, and it's not a joke. I mean, I'm serious about that. I mean, going against Oakland, allowed the 8th most to quarterbacks this season, fantasy points. Rivers threw 336 yards, 3 TDs against them. Flacco had a 384 game against them. McCowan had a 341 game against them. The only quarterback that didn't do anything against Oakland was Peyton Manning. So I like Ryan Fitzpatrick, actually. I think that I would rather I could save myself a little bit of dough by going Fitzpatrick. I think Phillip Rivers is going to be a popular play at 8-5. I mean, Phillip Rivers has thrown the ball 171 times over the last 3 games, averaging 57 pass attempts and 7 touchdowns over the last 3 games. So it's unbelievable what he's been able to do. And I'm kind of staying away from that, too, because I think he's going to be a popular play. I like Fitzpatrick, and I like Andy Dalton a lot. I really do. He had good games against Pittsburgh last year, over 500 yards, 4 TDs in the 2 games. At least 18 fantasy points in every single start this season. 18 was the fewest, of course. He's had 21, 28, 31-point performances. So I like him a lot. I mean, he's had 14 touchdowns in 6 games. So I'm a big fan of that. I also like the Eifert. It's hard to know which receiver you want because Dalton throws it around a lot, and they have 2 good backs that are capable of running. So it's hard to figure out if you want AJ or if you want Jones. But I like Eifert. Pittsburgh has allowed 6 touchdowns to tight ends this year, too. So I actually like that combo in Dalton. And then with Eifert, you can actually really go heavy off the board with wide receivers if you wanted to.
So just to clarify, people, for Rivers, because I'm huge on him this week, if you're in a 50-50 or a cash, are you still comfortable going with Rivers?
Oh, yes, absolutely, 100%. I think that's the key. If you're going to do a 50-50 or a cash game, you want to put out your best possible lineup. You don't want to really flirt with guys who are boom and bust players. So Rivers is just, as I mentioned, he's had 171 pass attempts over the last 3 weeks. Just unbelievable. So, yeah, I would feel really comfortable rolling out Rivers against Baltimore. 8-5 is a nice price as well.
All right, let's talk some running backs. Who are some good value guys that you like to throw out this week?
I still like Doug Martin. I think last week I might have told you guys I like Doug Martin. I
Yeah.
still like him against Atlanta, they haven't given up a lot of yards, but they've given up a lot of touchdowns, at 10, I believe. So I still like Doug Martin at 7.5. I think maybe Vincent Jackson may hurt him a little bit, but not as much. I still feel comfortable playing him. Chris Johnson has been completely steady now since he's got the starting job. I mean, he looks like CJ2K of old. I mean, this guy is 30, but he's still like getting it done. He has a great matchup against Cleveland, giving up a lot of yards per game on the ground, per carry as well. Gurley's going to be a popular play. I mean, he was a popular play in the Millionaire contest last week, just about 50% owned, which is pretty high. But again, he has a decent matchup against San Fran. His price hasn't jumped all that much. I still like McFadden. I think he's the man in Dallas. So I don't believe in Christian Michael. I still need to see it to believe in him. I guess it's a tough matchup against Seattle, but I still don't mind it. And Justin Forsett, again, much like Cleveland can't stop the run, San Diego having their issues as well. So I do like Justin Forsett. My big play it's not a huge shocker, but Antonio Brown at 8.4 seems like a steal, especially if Big Ben's going to play, and it kind of looks like he is. So at 8.4, I mean, if Big Ben was healthy all year and Antonio Brown was there, he'd probably be around the $9,000 mark. So you're saving yourself a little bit of cash if you want to go with Antonio Brown, and I also like Mike Evans.
Yeah, we like Evans with Vincent Jackson likely to be out. So let's keep talking about some wide receivers real quick. A guy I'm huge on this week, Keenan Allen, going up against to pair him with Phillip Rivers. I think Allen may catch the ball 37 times this week and shatter all records. Who are some guys you like?
Keenan Allen is obviously a top dog, and this is a great matchup. So I do like that. I mean, we've seen the catches. I mean, 9 catches last week, 14 the week before that. So, yeah, I mean, he could flirt with 30 catches. Who knows? But I know that was a joke. But Keenan Allen, for sure, is somebody that I would plug in with confidence. I still think Stefan Diggs, this guy seems to be for real, guys. He's looked really, really good over the past 3 weeks. Teddy Bridgewater, a lot of nice things to say about Stefan Diggs. He's got a nice matchup against Chicago, 6-7. And Michael Floyd again. I think I mentioned Floyd to you last week. It doesn't look like John Brown's going to play, and his price hasn't changed. Floyd's got touchdowns in 2 straight games now. He's still $4,900 against Cleveland. So I like that matchup a lot. And you know what? Nate Washington. It's just very impressive. Do you guys like Nasty Nate?
We do. Cecil Shorts has been ruled out, and I think you could see an uptick in targets.
So 44 targets, that's top 40 in all of NFL. He's missed 3 games, averaging 11 targets per game. Just say he played those 3 games and he got those 11 targets, he would have the 4th most in football. And we already know DeAndre Hopkins has the most in football. It's because they run 76 plays per game. They just run a lot of plays. They got no run game now. Nate Washington's price has not jumped all that much. He was the minimum last week. This week he's $5,400. He's had 2 100-yard games. He's got a little bit of a revenge game against Tennessee. So I actually like Nate Washington a lot, and especially in these PPR formats, you get half the point for a catch. If this guy's getting double-digit targets, I feel like he can reel in like at least 7 or 8 of them.
Well, there you have it, Nasty Nate, Chris Meany's pick of the week. If it wasn't, I just made him the pick of the week for Chris Meany.
That's fine. I like that. It was going to be Austin Seferian-Jenkins, but I've heard some bad things from him. It doesn't look like he will actually suit up.
Yeah, that's what we're hearing as well. So once again, a big thank you to Chris Meany from the Fantasy Sports Network. Tell him where you can find you on Twitter, Chris.
Yeah, you can follow me at Chris Meany, Meaney. Getting a lot of questions. I just hope that I'm right more than I'm wrong, because obviously I'd like to help out anybody out there who has any questions. So feel free to fire away, and I'll get back to you. And good luck with your guys' lineups, everybody out there.
All right, we'll talk to you next week, Chris.
All right, thanks, guys. Take care.
All right, that's some good information for you right there. He's been dependable this year.
That's Chris Meany or Mr. Meany if you're nasty.
Wow, he's been so dependable. You might call him Gary Barnage, right? I got 3 new nicknames that have been submitted. You want to hear them?
For Barnage?
Yeah. First one, someone said you got to feel the barn.
Okay, going with the Bernie Sanders.
Number 2, Chicken Barn. You taste so good. And then number 3.
Well, hold on. Number 2.
It's not a nickname though.
Yeah, but
it's funny though.
It's very funny, but then this is one of those jokes where if you start thinking about it, that is thoroughly disgusting.
Okay. Yeah, we'll move on. Barnageddon. Not bad. Not bad. Keep them coming, people.
Barnageddon.
I heard another one yesterday, and Yeah, I heard the barnacle because he sucks up all these targets and catches.
Barnacle, yeah.
Barnacle.
Barnageddon, man.
Barnageddon's not bad.
That's not bad.
We'll put it in the repertoire when he has another breakout game. If he does it this week against the Cardinals, I'll be impressed. But if McCown's playing, it certainly helps him. So.